The first here is the news from nowhere. Now, do you know the Dags dictionary? The Dags dictionary was this thing we did on the radio years ago. It's a dictionary of words that should exist but don't. It has words like a word for the clothing that you keep in the wardrobe even though it doesn't fit you anymore, in the hope that one day you'll fit back into it. It's called haute couture. Rather good. Or the word for the person whose bin is full and so secretly on the Thursday night or the Friday night goes and sneaks his rubbish into his neighbour's bin. He knows he's doing wrong because you can see the way he jogs rather suspiciously towards the bin and then looking around himself like a thief in the night, deposits it and runs quickly back inside. He is called a bin fidel. Or if you prefer, Osama bin Laden. Because what he's doing is pretty bad. But in that spirit, I thought at election time, there are all these acts going on at the moment which are so horrific from our politicians that the English language has shied from naming them so far. So the Dags Dictionary, Election Edition. The feeling that comes over the viewer when watching television a week before the end of the campaign. That's called ad nausea. The use of upbeat anthems by Jimmy Barnes whenever the leader appears. That's called Barnes storming. The queue of men waiting for pre-selection for both major parties, disallowing any women to ever stand. That's called a bloke-aid. The constant use of a slogan that appears little more than an amalgam of prejudice. That's called boganeering. A treasurer or shadow treasurer who appears able to spend the same pot of money 10 times over. Of course, it's a coin-torsionist. This is a rural one. Damnesia. The ability when campaigning in a rural electorate to forget that you've already promised that new dam in the previous 4 elections. Drip tease. The process by which the parties release their policies one at a time in an attempt to maximise headlines and send the rest of us insane. Eye-jacking, trying to get onto the evening news by appearing in something that moves, preferably a tank. Let's see, the next one I'm not sure about. Can I get away, do you think, with a pun on the word atavistic? We'll see. Hatavistic, to wear the hat of a previous time in an attempt to fit into a rural electorate. The moment in the Labour campaign in which they get so desperate to prove that they were once popular, they fly in Bob Hawke. It's called hawk barrelling. Hieroglyphics, strange markings in Murdoch newspapers in which a series of columnists attempt to win the praise of their master by singing the praises of Tony Abbott. Mock raker, any person employed by the chaser to view election footage with the sole purpose of finding bits of film that make the leaders look stupid. He's a mock raker. The semicircle of nodding ministers, you know this, arranged behind the leader for the TV cameras, their faces contorted into a look which they believe means, oh, my goodness, I'd forgotten how impressive he is. But which the rest of us feel just looks like indigestion. Of course, they're called the Nod Squad. The opening words to any answer, what I want to say is, or the point that needs to be made is, or if you'll just let me finish, I'd like to, all of which is called polyfiller. Ruddling, descriptive of Kevin Rudd's ability to campaign as both the representative of the Australian Labor Party as well as its greatest opponent. How does he manage that? If you like Labor, vote for me. If you don't like Labor, vote for me. Stop capping. Tony Abbott's ability to cap the answer to any question with the phrase, and we'll stop the boats, whatever the topic. And finally, yay-sayers, the audience at a campaign launch trained to applaud the leader's every utterance. Hooray! Sounds bad? Yeah, sure. But on election day, you can vote, then visit the PNC stall for the real choice of 2013. Lamingtons or chocolate slice? I'd go for both. And that's the news from nowhere.